Bates Motel Season 4, Episode 4, Lights of Winter. I actually think this was a pretty cool episode for Norman. I think them having him really get in touch with, kind of his new buddy who we really find out what his issues were, because when he first showed up, it was like he was kind of that character, which I think they always tend to have in shows, where it's like we have our main character that gets put into like an institution or something, and then their buddy is always like the most normal person. But clearly, if you're in an institution, there's something going on. Even if you seem really normal on the surface, that could be due to your meds currently, or it's because it's someone who's in the same position as you and not one of the orderlies or anything like that. So we really got to see what this guy was about when he got free. I wish I could remember his name. Of course, I wasn't even, I'm terrible with names. I've always been bad with names for characters, but I'm sure we'll get to see some more of him. I doubt they'll be breaking out again, but they did a very interesting little story with him and Norman in this episode. And they team up, they escape, they get a ride to a strip club, which I did not expect at all. And I was like, okay, didn't think that that's where they were headed. I really thought Norman was gonna try to get a ride home. That was kind of his big thing. It was like, I'm getting out today, and he's freaking out and stuff, and he realizes he's not getting out because something's weird, like something is wrong with him, and that's fairly obvious. So I really enjoyed the little adventure that he got in this episode. He escapes, they go to the strip club, he ends up in the VIP room with this woman, and I really was scared. I think we all had the same idea, like, it's getting really scary. Like, they have the vision, when she drops her bra and stuff, and he looks down, he sees his teacher, and it's like, oh crap, he's about to switch. And he does switch, and once again, they did some cool editing. It was a lot like the finale for the last season. And I love it. It's simple editing. It's just someone moves across the camera and just edit that in. But I still love that. I always think that's really cool editing. But I like the way they did that. And unfortunately, it didn't turn into anybody dying, because of course it's like, oh, she's going to get killed. And I don't know how he could possibly escape this situation. And I think, I'm not sure where it was even going, because this is the first time it was actually a normal experience. It was like he changed, which of course is bad in itself, but he wasn't trying to kill this woman or anything. And I don't know where in his head, and I find that very interesting, but in Norman's head, he believes that his mother would make out with this woman. I just thought like that was a very interesting thing. Like, it's funny that he would have that thought in his head that his mother would actually do that with this woman. So, it was just great. I was like, all right, they're making out. That's fine. He's not going to kill her, I'm assuming, if they're making out. And then, things get really crazy. And I thought he was going to at least try to attack the guards, because, of course, he picks up the screwdriver. But fortunately, everything plays out. They both get, knocked out. They were just beating his friend. I mean, he was causing some issues. He, of course, once you punch one of the bouncers at a strip club, they'll drop you. So he was just getting destroyed. They're just kicking the crap out of him. Norman gets punched hard. He got punched so hard that he hit the mirror and cracked it, which I didn't realize when it first happened until they showed him like leaning against the wall. I was like, oh dang, I didn't realize his head hit it and put a crack in the mirror. But that was a nice little adventure for them. Pretty interesting. And Norman, seemingly, I mean, it's Norman, so it's like he has a really cool moment where he seemingly has a bit of clarity, where it's like, I will do whatever I need to get help for myself as well as for my mother. So if I need to help myself so I can, get out the normal way so I can help my mother and, set things in order, then that's what I'll do. I'll do whatever it takes. So I thought that was a great moment. And of course, it's weird seeing it, because we know, it's based off a cycle, so we know how everything ends, and it's just like, man, how does this go wrong? Like, he has this big moment of clarity, and yet something has to go wrong. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out, unless they decide to change it. I never really considered, especially since they're just, making this stuff up as they go, I assume, just doing the show. But I never really considered what they may or may not change, because they could change how everything plays out. Who knows? But if they are really following in line with the story where everything seemingly just works out fine, I'm just curious how it's all going to go wrong. He has this great moment of clarity, and then something just destroys it. So I'm curious about that. We have a little bit of a hint as to what we're going to be seeing from Emma and Caleb. So I'm not Caleb. Dylan. I don't know why I'm always mixing the names up. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if that'll be a big thing that they really even talk about throughout the rest of the season. I'm sure it'll happen within this season. So I'm actually curious about that because I was wondering, based on the movie, what I do know about the movie and the characters that are in it, what are they going to do with some of these other people? Like, what's going to happen with them? So we may or may not just see them kind of naturally leave the show in the final season where it's like, this is how it ends. And that's, they set up them leaving this season. And maybe that won't happen until the next season, or maybe they'll just kind of come back in the final season. But I thought that was cool. It was like Emma's moving to her and her father are moving to Seattle, and she asked Dylan, and he's like, yeah, like if you want me to go, then I'm gonna go. So I thought that was actually really cool, and that I thought was just a good moment. They have like the nicest thing in this series right now. It's just them as a couple. I think is like the most normal thing we could possibly have in this series. So I'm glad to see that that's actually working. I was like the only happy thing. Everything else is either pseudo happy, like Norma and Romero is like that's actually getting pretty good. They're kind of building an actual relationship. And then of course we have everything going on with Norman on Norma's side of the fence. And then of course we have Rebecca come back, which like I said, we all knew that was gonna happen because they put this random woman in. And it's like she's gonna come back in. She knows about the guy that he killed, and of course I believe I mentioned like she's gonna come back and ask him like if he killed that guy, and that's literally the first thing that happens when she physically shows up. Because I think he has like a text from her at first, but when she's in her first actual scene, I was like, I'm just gonna be blunt. Did you kill this guy? And it's like, of course, that's the first thing she asks. So things are getting crazy on that side of the fence because she asks him. They find out, or we find out as he does, that I believe there is $3 million in the guy's safety deposit box. Of course, they don't have both keys because the person gets one key, and naturally, it's inside of all the money. Which another thing that happened during that scene when he was cutting the money open, the first thing I thought of is that, and I believe it was after the FBI thing or something like that, or maybe it was. I think it was after he talked with her. And when he was cutting through it, the first thing I thought was like, what if there was a tracer inside of all the wrapped up money, like there is a tracker? Because people do that a lot, especially if they're doing like a bunch of illegal stuff. You get a buttload of money, you just hide it within the money, like a little thing, and you seal up the money and stuff. You would assume no one's gonna cut through every single bag, and that's what I thought when that happened. But of course, that's not the case. And he finds the info. He finds like it looked like a passport because it had like the blue cover and stuff. But he has that, and then he finds the key. So I don't know what he's gonna do with that, because of course he's like, I'm not gonna even dignify, whether or not I killed him with the response. And naturally, he killed him. It's kind of what he does. And I was thinking about that in this episode after I saw it. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's on par with murders, with Norma, because she killed the guy in the beginning, which is totally reasonable with what that guy did when he raped her. So that I don't care about that guy. And then we had the cop from the first season, Romero's old partner, who was also pretty freaking insane, which we find out, which was like the probably one of the best things about the first season. It was that Norman actually wasn't, well, obviously he was crazy, but he wasn't like hallucination crazy. So all that stuff, and he was nuts. So she killed both of them, and I'm pretty sure Romero killed like the guy that was trying to take over as sheriff. I'm pretty sure he like flat out murdered that guy. And then the guy from last season, I think he murdered the other dude from like the second season as well, like the creepy guy that kept coming around. Like, oh, there was, I think the guy who was like related to his old partner or like had dealings with him or whatever. I think he was the one that killed that guy. So I think he's killed more people than Norma actually, and not just like obviously cop stuff. Just you're kind of in the way. I gotta just get rid of you. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if I doubt he'll kill Rebecca. But now that the FBI is on her case, because it's like, oh, do you have any sort of relationship with her? And of course he lies, because that's kind of what he has to do. So he lies about that. He has the key. They know that she helped the guy launder money. And there's just a swarm of crap coming down on both of them right now. And he needs to be extremely careful, because all she has to do is say, he probably killed the guy, and all they'll do is search the house. It's like an automatic warrant when someone kind of plants you as the suspect, and despite his position, there's a lot of a lot of background just from the previous seasons where it's a lot of weird stuff that he's done. So I think that in itself would allow for them to get an easy warrant if they wanted to. Granted, it's the FBI. I don't know the deals with cops need warrants. I don't know what the FBI does. It just kick you in the face and take what they want. But it's getting really crazy with the two of them, and I'm excited to see where that goes for sure. Because I don't know if that woman's gonna make it or not. I don't know if he's gonna ride her out. I'm assuming he won't because he didn't. And of course, that would be stupid as well because despite his position, I think pretty much everyone in town knows that he is at least somewhat involved or is somewhat lenient on like kind of the industry, or he was at least when the weed industry was actually still within the city. But I don't know where they're taking that. It's going to be dangerous, of course, because they wouldn't have had that shown up. So I can't wait to see how all this stuff plays out. It's going to be crazy, but I'm really looking forward to it. I was excited to see all these interesting moments in this episode, but I think that seems like the most chaotic thing that's going to be coming up because Norman has actually reversed, from chaos. He actually has the moment of clarity, so I'm excited for that. Of course, Emma and Dylan, they seem to just, be building their relationship, which is good. And then, even Norma and Romero, just as, just the two of them as an actual couple, that's fine as well. So then we have, which is also a funny moment, when Norma and Rebecca met and Romero comes over, he did something really funny when he was walking away because I mentioned, him having killed a bunch of people. After they meet, and he's like, all right, hey, they want pictures with both of us. They're walking away, and he looks back. He does that quick look. And I saw the look on his face was like, crap, I got to kill her now, too. That was the look he kind of had on his face. It was a simple look. He just turned around and looked at her. But I'm like, I don't know if his plan is to get rid of her or what, but then the episode kind of continued and the FBI stuff came in, so I don't think that'll happen. But when he did that first turn, it's like, crap, I gotta kill somebody else. And I just thought that was really funny. Like, she's gonna cause some issues here. I think I need to take her down, even though that would be like the simplest thing to kill her over. Especially, compared to everybody else that he's killed. That would be pretty extreme. It would just be like, oh, he'll out the fact that we used to have sex to my current wife. But that was just really funny to me. Like, he just did that quick look, like, gotta kill her now. But that's the chaos coming in for sure. And of course, Norman is chaos always. So even with this, like I said, clarity moment, considering where the show's gonna lead into, the movie, something's gonna go wrong there. But I'm excited to see it. I definitely enjoyed this episode. I can't wait to see what happens with this FBI stuff. I didn't think we'd actually get any internal struggle type things with Romero and stuff like that. And it's not about him specifically, but obviously he's involved because he killed the guy. It seems highly unlikely that anything will connect to him because with the murder of the guy and him just taking off, and the boat thing, the boat was like way out in the water. Who knows how deep it was. It sunk. Unless they're gonna just, scan the entire lake, which is ridiculous. That's just not going to happen. So I don't think anything will be connected to him as far as the murder. But he does have that money. And if something weird happens where Rebecca's like, I kind of want to make a plea deal or something and just see what she can do to throw Romero under the bus, I think that's a really likely option. And if that happens, they could end up searching the house. And it's like, why do you have stacks of taped up money and stuff, hidden in the basement? So I don't know. I'm very curious how things are going to play out, but I really enjoyed this one. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And I definitely want to know what you guys think is going to happen with Romero and Rebecca and the FBI investigating her and investigating the money laundering. The disappearance of the guy, of course, is going to be a huge deal for them. But I want to know your speculations on where you think it's going. I think odds are something's going to happen. I don't know if she'll just rat him out or if some weird piece of evidence will randomly show up to incriminate Romero. But I feel like something's going to happen there because at this point, it's too simple, but they've clearly just introduced it. And right now it's just like, oh, she's my banker, and full disclosure, I have an account there. It's the only bank in town. Simple stuff like that. So it's like, oh, we're just looking into it. That's going to become something really bad for both of them. And at this point, I don't think Rebecca really gives a crap. I don't think she's like, we've only seen it for 2 episodes. I don't think she's truly going to turn into like the jealous character, like, oh, you dumped me at random and married this woman out of nowhere. I don't think she's going to be like, care about that stupid type of crap. So I don't know if it'll be evidence or if she'll just turn on him because she wants to at least, from 30 years to 20 years or something simple. I feel like that could easily be the case. But I definitely want to know your speculations on this, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.